Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kent. I am Reverend Stephen, your minister. It's good to be together once again with my booming, echoing voice here. I wonder, is this on too? Only your headset. Okay, please. Thank you for joining us this morning as we gather once again, both in person and on Zoom, a spiritual community seeking to be diverse and inclusive as we inspire love, work for justice, and grow together in community. We extend a special welcome to our visitors. Thank you for worshiping with us this morning. For our visitors on Zoom, if you'd like to know more about our church and be in contact with us, there will be a contact link in the chat box at the end of the service. Everyone on Zoom is also welcome to stay after the service and join a breakout room to talk with each other. For those who are here in person this morning, please join us in Hobbs Hall after this service for a reception for our new and Jubilee members, and there will be cake. This morning, as part of our service, we will take time to honor our beloved dead with a ritual of remembrance. If you would like a loved one included, please write their names on a yellow card and give it to our ushers during the opening hymn. So, should we have a service where we spend the whole hour doing this? The extroverts, yeah. The introverts, or maybe not. Once again, welcome. Now, let's take a moment to breathe and to center ourselves to be fully present. As we breathe together, we invite the Spirit to be present among us, to open our hearts to life and the gift of this day as we reflect on this season and the dance of life and death. Come, let us worship together.
I've always loved Halloween since I was a kid. To me, it was a chance to use my imagination and be someone or anything else I wanted to be. I thought long and hard each year about my costume, and my mom, who was a great seamstress, would make it for me. Trick-or-treating in my neighborhood was exciting, and I thrived on the anticipation of approaching those decorated houses on the street where I might be spooked by people costumed as ghouls, monsters, or zombies. Fall is a magical time. The lush green of summer turns to vibrant red, yellow, orange, the brilliant dying glow of plant life. It's not hard to see why other cultures also mark this time of the year with celebrations. Today, we will explore a few of these traditions, plus learn about the one with which we are more familiar. As we go on this journey together, you might find yourself answering the following questions. How are these traditions similar? How are they different? And what about fall seems to inspire them? As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice to unite us in worship, to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth within us and among us, a light to guide us on our journey as a community toward freedom, and a reminder that we are all interconnected in the great web of existence which we are a part. As Emma lights our shared chalice, I invite you to light your home chalice. Please join in our chalice responsive reading. In our time of remembering, may this light be a sign
Of peace, of comfort, and of strength of community.
Look at all these cool pumpkins up here, these jack-o'-lanterns that were made by our children and families yesterday. So the jack-o'-lantern has a long history with Halloween, yeah? So I wonder where that came from. I'm going to tell you an absolutely 100% true story, wink, wink, about how the jack-o'-lantern got its name. Let's begin. Centuries ago in Ireland lived a miser named Jack, a blacksmith by trade, but a big meanie by reputation. He was a trickster, a con man, belligerent, unkind, and self-centered, granting him the nickname Stingy Jack. No one was safe from his big meaniness, not the priests of the church, nor the children of the schoolyard. Not a shred of humanity graced his body. He was the definition of what another very popular holiday person would say, a cotton-headed Nitty Muggins. So was Jack. Stingy Jack became famous for being a complete doo-doo head. In fact, the tales of his schemes even reached the lowest pits of the bad place and graced the ears of its CEO, the devil. Upon hearing the despicable reputation of Stingy Jack, the devil could not believe so terrible of a man existed that he delightedly put forth plans to come on up and meet him. One evening, Jack was walking through the foggy fog of the countryside, and the devil hid behind a wide oak tree, waiting for him to approach. When Jack was within reach, the devil jumped from behind the tree with a very dramatic leap, a mean, terrible face, eyes wide open, trying to scare Jack with a creepy, creepy grin. In that instant, Jack squealed. We squeal like Jack. And realized that his time was up and that the devil had come to collect his soul. He asked the devil for a final request, though, before departing, and the devil thought for a moment and said, what the heck, why not? And granted it. Jack told him that he wanted one more chocolate milkshake before he had to depart the living world, and he took the devil to the nearest Shake Shack. I told you, it was a true story. One milkshake turned into another, and then another, and another, until they both had a terrible brain freeze. And it was time for them to pay their tab. Jack casually turned to his new buddy with a milkshake mustache dripping from his upper lip and persuaded him that since he had magical powers, he could simply transform into a piece of silver and pay the tab for them. The devil obliged and shifted into the form of the coin, but instead of paying the nice young college student at the Shake Shack who had been serving them all night, Jack simply put the coin in his pocket. And having been double-crossed, the devil tried to immediately transform back, but Jack had put a crucifix in his pocket and had trapped the devil in coin form. Well, Jack then made a proposition to the devil, and he said, "If you leave me alone for another 10 years, I will release you from the coin." And seeing no other option, the CEO of the bad place reluctantly agreed, and a bargain was struck. So, 10 years have gone by. 10 years later, Stingy Jack's freedom has reached its limit, and so it was time to pay the devil his due. As before, Jack asked his old buddy for a final request. He asked for an apple from the nearby tree to quell his hunger for the long journey. And while the devil selected an apple, Jack quickly carved 4 crucifixes across the bottom of the tree, trapping the devil in its branches again. Stingy Jack had duped the devil once more, and the devil was now at his mercy. Jack once again offered the demon his freedom on the condition that Jack would not go to the bad place, and as before, the devil had little choice but to submit to the con man's wishes. Stingy Jack continued the rest of his life safe in the knowledge that he had outsmarted the devil not once, but twice. And no matter what he would do from then on out, he would not go to the bad place, even when he passed away. So the years passed and passed, and Stingy Jack eventually got very, very old. Years of drinking only milkshakes and eating not a single vegetable finally exacted their toll on his body. And the devil made good on his word, though, that Jack would not go to the bad place upon his death. But as Jack approached the gates of the good place, he was barred from entering. Despite his victories over the devil, Jack still led a very deceitful life. And he was a big, meanie McMeanie pants, and was always taking the last piece of pie, was always yelling at puppies, and tormenting all of those who crossed his path. And such a person could not be granted access to the good place. So Jack was turned away and strolled down to the entrance of the bad place. But the devil also refused Jack's entrance into his kingdom, both to honor their agreement and for revenge against his humiliations at Jack's hands. So the way back to Earth was windy and very, very dark, and Stingy Jack pleaded with the devil to at least provide him with a light to help him find his way. The devil, as a final gesture, tossed Jack a burning ember straight from the fires of the bad place. To carry this burning ember, Jack found a turnip, hollowed it out, and turned it into a makeshift lantern. See where I'm going with this? You got it? Yeah? Ever since, Stingy Jack's ghost could be seen wandering aimlessly around the Irish countryside, and whenever locals saw mysterious lights, they would say that it's just Jack of the Lantern. With Stingy Jack condemned to wander the world, the people of Ireland did not want his wicked spirit to enter their homes, and so on October 31st, All Hallows Eve, when the spirits of the Neverworld would pass through the world of the living, each home carved a menacing face into turnips and rutabagas and prominently displayed them on their doorsteps with a burning candle to warn off Jack of the Lantern and other evil spirits. And as time would pass, the turnips and rutabagas would be replaced by large pumpkins, and those would in turn take the name of Jack-o'-lantern in recognition of the man who outwitted the devil not once, but twice, but was then doomed to walk the world for all eternity. 100% true.
So, Jack,
Yes?
is it true you couldn't get into heaven or hell and are doomed to wander the earth forever?
Yep, you got that right, Buster. And when the CEO of the bad place, the devil you know, gave me the ember, he also grabbed a pumpkin, not a turnip, and told a demon to hollow it out and carve a scary face so that no one would be tricked into talking with me ever again. So, The demon did that, placed the ember inside the pumpkin, and said to me, "Here you are, your own scary lantern." And I said, "Pah, not a scary lantern, a jack-o'-lantern." And now I love this time of year because I see myself everywhere. It's all about me. I'm the reason for the season.
So that's the legend of the jack-o'-lantern. But this time of year is not really all about you, Jack. There are some ancient traditions.
Oh, yeah? Who says? I'd rather hang out at the local pub and see if I can trick anyone into buying me a drink. Wandering around for eternity makes a spirit thirsty for spirits. I'll let you tell the people about Samhain and Halloween, but before I go, I have a joke for you.
Yeah?
Do you know how to mend a broken jack-o'-lantern?
No, Jack. How do you mend a broken jack-o'-lantern?
With a pumpkin patch. Ta-ta!
See you around, Jack.
Oh, yes, you will.
Yeah. Tomorrow is Halloween, All Hallows Eve. We Americans will spend an estimated, get this, $10.6 billion on costumes, candy, decorations, and other Halloween-related items this year. Halloween has its beginning in an ancient Celtic festival, Samhain, that occurs around the 1st of November and marks the beginning of winter. The Celtic people believed that the night before Samhain, spirits from the other world came and destroyed vegetation with their breath, leaving the land barren. The festival of Samhain recognizes that nature's cycles are an eternal dance between life and death. We are witnesses to this dance. The days are getting shorter. Leaves are turning color and falling. The harvests have been gathered in. The frosts are killing vegetation, and animals are disappearing as they leave for warmer places or go into their burrows for the winter. The ancient Celtic people also believed that this was the time of year when the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead became thin, allowing the spirits of the dead to walk among us at night. The Celts lit candles and bonfires and left food and wine on their doorsteps to both protect their homes from spirits who might want to cause harm, as well as to help guide their departed loved ones along their journeys. People wore costumes and masks when they went out the night before Samhain to blend in with the spirits who were out and about. In the 8th century, the Christian church wanted to end pagan traditions, so Samhain became All Saints' Day or All Hallows, and the night before became All Hallows' Eve, later shortened to Halloween. But many of the pagan traditions continue to this day, including the costumes and masks to disguise ourselves from the spirits, offerings of food for the spirits roaming the world, which we know as trick-or-treat, and of course, jack-o'-lanterns. Some modern pagans celebrate Samhain as one of their most important holy days. A common ritual is the Dumb Supper. Anne Lafferty describes it in the book A Seeker's Guide to Modern Witchcraft and Paganism. At the table laden with food, there is a place setting for each person present, as well as one in front of an empty chair. This place is for the beloved dead, who are the guests of honor. The first plate of food is given to them. The living eat in silence, thinking about their ancestors and others they care about who have died. When the meal is over, the leftover food, including the food that was on the plate for the spirits of the dead, is taken outside and placed on the ground as an offering. People will then tell stories and share memories about their beloved dead and sing songs honoring them. Sometimes the food for the dinner includes favorite dishes of the departed, for whose honor the ritual is observed. To help us reflect about this time of year, the changing season, which reminds us of the eternal dance of life and death, Heidi's going to read a poem titled The Falling Leaves by Joyce Rupp.
With constant chorus of birds, the leaves plummet down from thin, bare trees. They swirl to the ground, dancing the autumn death dance. Beneath the great blue sky, the leaves seem glad at the going. Is there something I don't know? Sparkling in the November sunshine, they fill the air with gentle rustling, one, then another, and another. On they skim down from above, bedding the forest table before me with comforting crunches and crackles. This gigantic death scene of leaves does not smell of sorrow and sadness. Rather, the earth is colored in beauty, and the leaves make music in the wind. Why is this dance of death so lovely? Why do leaves seem so willing to go? Are they whispering to each other, urging one another to be freed? Maybe you first, then I'll follow. Or you can do it, go on, supporting one another in a call to final surrender. I have not yet discovered the secret of the serenity of sailing leaves. Every autumn I walk among them with a longing that stretches forever, waiting to face that death dance and the truth of my own mortality.
If All Hallows Eve is the night of ghoulies and ghosties and long-legged beasties and grinning jack-o'-lanterns and things that go bump and boo in the night, November 1st, All Hallows, or as we more commonly know it, All Saints' Day, is a festival of all things holy and bright. The origins of All Saints' Day is not known for certain, and it's been observed on various days in different places and times. But it is believed to have been started by Pope Boniface IV, who consecrated the Pantheon at Rome to the Virgin Mary and all the martyrs in May of 609 AD. Boniface IV also established All Souls' Day, which follows All Saints, as a day to remember the dead. The November 1st date of celebration and broadening the festival to include All Saints occurred during the reign of Pope Gregory III, who dedicated a chapel in St. Peter's Basilica, Rome, on the 1st of November in honor of All Saints sometime in the 8th century. In 837, Pope Gregory IV declared All Saints' Day an official holy day of the Church. On All Saints' Day, Catholics honor those who have been canonized, formally recognized as saints, people who have achieved spiritual maturity. Protestants generally remember all Christians, both living and dead, on All Saints' Day. In Buddhism, there are the Bodhisattvas, saints who refuse to enter nirvana, paradise, choosing instead to return to the world to help others. We Unitarian Universalists have our saints too, our spiritual ancestors who have taught us the values by which we live, who remind us of our own inherent worth and dignity and that of every person, and who are now part of the great cloud of witnesses. Our second source of spiritual wisdom affirms the words and deeds of prophetic people, which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. We celebrate All Saints' Day as a day to honor those not only who are known and recognized as enlightened souls, but also those unknown saints, often people who walked alongside us through time, guiding our way and loving us. Literary critic Ambrose Bierce once observed that saints are dead sinners, revised and edited, but the living can be saints as well. We don't always recognize that a person or an animal who accompany us on our journey as a saint, a spiritual teacher. At times they may even annoy us, and as one writer says, that far from being perfect, they are sometimes working to overcome their own obstacles and struggles in life. But their presence teaches us to love and reminds us that we can do and be far more than we ever thought possible. Although I have to say, dogs are pretty much saints already. We take time now to name and remember our beloved dead, to give thanks for them, the people and animals who helped make life richer and more joyful. In loving us and guiding us, they made the world a better place. So we remember our parents, our grandparents, and great-grandparents, all the ancestors to whose love and care and sacrifice we owe our very existence, whose DNA literally lives on in us. We remember other family members who have gone before us, spouses, partners, children, siblings, aunts and uncles, cousins, nieces and nephews, whose love and companionship made life worth living. We remember our friends and fellow travelers, those who we've drawn into our circle of life, who have shared the journey with us and continue to guide us on our way. We remember our pets, the animal companions who have enriched our lives and taught us to love and care for all of life, knowing that our lives are bound together in the interconnected web of all of existence. With thanksgiving, we remember the leaders, members, and friends of this congregation on whose legacy we now build. People who through the years have nurtured and sustained this community we now hallow with our presence. We remember those who have died because of violence, calling to mind especially transgender people killed because of intolerance, and people of color who are the victims of racism and injustice. We remember and grieve for all the victims of COVID. May their memory strengthen in us a call to work for peace and justice and practice compassion. We now bear witness to the memory of those in this community who have died in the last year. Larry Cole. Bob Farwell. We remember Joanne, Mary, Bill Eldridge, Pat, Becky's sister Candy, Becky's brother-in-law Ronnie. We remember Richard Jackson. We remember Linda Dodds, Jeanette Westerfield, David Graham, and Chelsea Stevens. Heidi's mother, Ruth, Heidi's brother, Andrew, and Heidi's husband, Brett, for whom our library is named. Remember Bill Bish, Michael Carbon, Christopher, Kathy Slater's brother, Leo, Eleanor Cole and Jean Cole Yaley, Florence Merkin, Vivian's father, Herb, Swanee Benita's father. Remember Ted. Carol asked us to remember Paul and her parents. We remember Harry Noden, Barbara Sumser. If there are any other names you'd like to remember this morning, you're welcome to speak them out loud now. Let's take some time now in silent meditation. Let us remember in silence with love and tenderness the loved ones we have named and all those we hold in our hearts. Let us take these moments of silence to offer our gratitude for the gift of their lives and to say thank you in our hearts for their companionship in life. In the silence, let us also reassure ourselves that even though their physical presence is gone, through the mystery and power of love, they live on in each one of us, for nothing we keep in our hearts is ever lost. Let's enter silence. Now, where is Jack? Where is Jack? Out wandering somewhere. You're up here. Part 3. Had a little too much fun at the pub, did you, Jack?
Never too much fun in the pub. See? So, Stephen, is it true that there are stories of the earthbound all over the world, including Japan?
Yes, Jack, it's true. Would you like to hear a great ghost story?
Oh, yes, I would. I love a good ghost story. But before you tell it, do you know how a jack-o'-lantern is similar to the Buddha?
Now, how could a jack-o'-lantern be similar to the Buddha, Jack?
They're both enlightened.
Don't you have some...
Enlightened.
Don't you have some small children or something to scare?
Yes, I do. And you know I love to do that. But before I go, did you know the Headless Horseman and I are cousins?
Really?
Yes, once removed. Our heads, that is.
Could I tell the story now, Jack, please?
Yes, you can, but I'd rather you wouldn't. But I see I've run out of script.
There was a small town which was haunted by the ghosts of 4 women. These were no ordinary ghosts, though. They were hungry ghosts. No matter how many offerings of food was left for these ghosts, they kept haunting the town. We are hungry. Feed us. Give us more. More. We need more. The wailing and the presence of these ghosts was just too much to take. Finally, a townsperson went to the local Buddhist monastery to ask for help. A monk came to the town and, after investigating, learned that the 4 women became rich by selling food using false measures before they died. So the monk told the townspeople to make offerings to the monks of food on behalf of the women, and the merits of these offerings would set the women's spirits free. The townspeople made their offerings, and the 4 hungry ghosts disappeared, never to return. In Japan, it is important to honor the spirits of one's ancestors. There is a Japanese Buddhist festival known as Obon, or Bon. It combines Buddhist and Confucian traditions into a family reunion holiday during which people visit and clean their ancestors' graves, and when the spirits of ancestors visit the living. Sometimes called the Japanese Day of the Dead, Obon has been celebrated in Japan for more than 500 years. Many people return to their hometowns and spend the holiday with family and friends. The celebration includes a dance known as the Bon Odori, a dance of joy in which ancestors and their sacrifices are remembered and appreciated. The dance comes from the story of a disciple of the Buddha, Mokuren. Mokuren used his supernatural powers to see his deceased mother. He found out she had fallen into the realm of hungry ghosts and was suffering. So he went to the Buddha and asked how to release his mother. Buddha instructed Mokuren to make offerings to the monks who had just completed their summer retreat. The disciple did this and saw his mother's release. The disciple also saw the true nature of her unselfishness in life and the many sacrifices she had made for him. The disciple, who was happy because of his mother's release and grateful for her kindness, danced with joy. The Obon festival ends with Toro Nagashi, or the floating of lanterns. Paper lanterns are illuminated and then floated down rivers symbolically, signaling the ancestral spirit's return to the world of the dead. The festivities usually finish with a fireworks display. In Kyoto, residents mark the end of Obon by lighting giant bonfires in the hills surrounding the city. These are thought to guide the spirits back to the world of the dead. So I invite Heidi to share the Obon poem written by Ahmad Shadiqi.
Deceased spirits, family's ancestors, vital part family life. Family tradition, how far dispersed to gather at family home. The reunion, affectionate moments to spend with living family members. To honor memory, of family who have passed on, to spend time, to spruce up graves. To guide the souls of the ancestors, lanterns are lit in front of many family homes. With fruits and assorted foods set on a Buddhist altar, they are welcomed home. Upon rivers and streams, touching and poetic launch of illuminated lanterns to guide spirits back.
Hey, Jack. We know this is your favorite time of year.
Oh, yes, it is. It's Halloween. It's Halloween. Pumpkins scream in the dead of night. I am a master of fright, a demon of light, and I'll scare you right out of your pants. Maybe not. It's a scary thing. You know, today I was out and I slipped on a pumpkin.
Yeah.
It caught me off guard. Sorry.
Yeah. So, Jack, since you've been wandering the earth for centuries, you've probably seen most, if not all, of the celebrations. Do you have one you really like?
Oh, I do indeed. It takes place in Mexico and other Latin American countries.
Yes.
It is, I love this, is so exciting. It's El Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, observed on November 1st and 2nd. It's my favorite because there are brightly colored skulls and skeletons dressed in beautiful clothes. For now, we laugh because the joke is on the Grim Reaper. We've cheated death once again. Although I've cheated death like forever, unlike you poor humans, you can enjoy the festivities and laughter, but remember that you only dance on this earth for a short time. I have to go get ready for the dance of the jack-o'-lanterns, so I'll let you tell the story of the Day of the Dead. But before I go, I have one more joke for you. You know what one jack-o'-lantern said to the other on Halloween night?
No, Jack. What did one jack-o'-lantern say to the other on Halloween night?
Let's get smashed!
Let's give Jack a round of applause. For a meaning McMeany pants, he's got a pretty good sense of humor. Well, happy All Hallows to you, Jack.
You too.
The tradition of El Dia de los Muertos has its beginnings in the 16th century when the conquering Spaniards sought to combine the indigenous Aztecs' beliefs with the Catholic celebrations of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. The Aztecs believed that death was merely one part in the wider cycle of existence, and each year at this time they made offerings for deceased children and adults to a goddess known as the Lady of the Dead. While contemporary Day of the Dead celebrations include masses and prayers to saints and the dead, it is far more festive than other celebrations across the world. The dead are not feared but welcomed. In Mexico, preparations begin in mid-October. Markets and shops begin selling all sorts of things. Delicate paper cutouts of skeletons called papo picado, decorated wreaths and crosses, sweetened breads, sugar or chocolate skulls, and toys like miniature coffins made out of paper or wood that contain skeletons that sit up when a string is pulled. In rural Mexico, the holiday involves placing the dead person's foods, photographs, flowers, and mementos on a home altar. Many families also keep all-night candlelight vigils in the graveyards where their dead are buried and attend open-air memorial masses. There is feasting in the home where scattered flower petals and burning incense invite the spirits to enter and partake of their favorite foods and special bread, which have been set out on tables or home altars, decorated with flowers and photos of the departed family members. There are processions, pageantry, elaborate food, bright decorations, and even fireworks. While this is a time of mourning, it's still an atmosphere of fiesta. Former UUA President Peter Morales wrote, "If we dismiss the Day of the Dead as pure superstition, we can easily miss the profound spiritual and psychological insight that makes this tradition so powerful. While we dwellers in a technological age are connected to the World Wide Web, cell phones, and cable TV, we have message machines, voicemail, pagers, and call waiting, we have cut ourselves off from the web of time. Traditional cultures with their mediums and ghosts and reincarnations understand intuitively something we've repressed. The dead don't die, they live on." All of the holy days and holidays this time of year have a shared spiritual theme. We join with others in many traditions across the world to remember that we are connected to one another, and the dead are intimately related to the living, and the living to the dead. It's an opportunity to do the work of grief that allows us to heal and find peace. We are invited to come to terms with our own mortality, reminding ourselves that life is a precious but fleeting gift. We can find comfort and peace in knowing that our loved ones are still with us, carried in our hearts and minds, their lives forever ours. Most importantly, we are challenged to affirm life in the face of loss and death, to mourn but not to lose hope, trusting that life ultimately triumphs and that love will outlive time and death and even all the stars. We are thriving as a spiritual community because all of us participate in the circle of giving and receiving. Thank you for the generous gifts of your time, money, and care for each other that make this all possible. Thank you. To help others in our community thrive, we give to agencies and organizations in Kent and beyond that serve those in need. October's special offering is for the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank. In the spirit of gratitude for the gift of one another in this community and the abundance that makes our generosity possible, we now give and receive the offering as a sign of our shared commitment to the life and work of this congregation and beyond. Would the ushers please come forward?
For the responsive reading, please repeat the words in the italics. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them.
In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them.
In the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them.
In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we remember them.
In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of the autumn, we remember them.
In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them.
As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us.
As we remember them.
Okay. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them.
When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them.
When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them.
When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them.
When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them.
Our time of celebration and remembrance to its close, would you join me in extinguishing the chalice? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry these in our hearts and minds until we are together again. Let's rise and join in singing when the saints go marching in. Thank you. So I have two quick announcements for you. This Wednesday at 7 o'clock, we will have a solemn Vespers of Remembrance as we remember our loved ones who have died. You're welcome to attend here in person or on Zoom. Next Sunday is our monthly Community Sunday. We'll gather in Hobbs Hall at 11 a.m. We'll do Legos and puzzles and games and be together with each other. Now I have these words of the Reverend Judith Anderson. Remember us, you who are living, restore us, renew us. Speak for our silence, tell our stories. Continue our work, bless the breath of life. Sing of the mysteries, write your heart in the stars. Dance the hidden patterns, weave the web of love. Now in these autumn days, as we watch the eternal cycle of life continue, and we remember our ancestors with love, honoring those who have gone before, let us go forth to sing of the mysteries, to weave a web of love, and to continue inspiring love, seeking justice, and growing together in community. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.